Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sheena, also known as Big Red, and I am a part-time reseller on apps like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And today I have a video that has been long awaited. I apologize for my break. I went on vacation, but today I have part 2 of my sourcing checklist for you guys. And I will go ahead and link part 1 down in the description below. So part 1 is my sourcing checklist for basically quality control. What you should be checking for before you go to the register to check out at the thrift stores. That way we can decrease the items that we're bringing home with flaws. So I created just an easy to use checklist, and then I made a video just explaining it a little bit more in depth. So I will also link the actual checklist below that I'm giving to you guys so that you can take it with you to the thrift store. Today I have part 2, which is going to go over shoes and handbags. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about is shoes. I love sourcing shoes, and I do think that shoes are easier to check over for flaws, but there are some key things that you should be looking for when you find a pair of shoes that you want to buy at the thrift store. So the first thing, my number 1 tip, is to make sure the shoes are the same size. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I've done it. I'm sure there's some of you out there that have done it, particularly if you shop at the bins where the shoes can get mixed up and they don't put the shoes together. You got to make sure that you have 2 shoes that are the right size. Also, 2 shoes that are one right foot and one left foot. So obviously these ones are the same size. Also make sure they're the same style. I've done this as well where I've bought 2 pairs of boots that I thought went together. They looked almost identical, but they were actually 2 different style of brown boots. One had like the buckle on the top and then the other one had the buckle on the side or something. So particularly if you're shopping at the bins, double check to make sure you have a correct matching pair. The next thing, if you haven't heard of the twist test, this particularly applies to shoes with a rubber sole like Crocs or Danskos. So basically what the twist test is hold it up to your ear and twist as hard as you can. If you hear a crunching or like a crackling sound, that's not a good sign. That means that the shoe probably has dry rot, and your customer may get the shoe, be walking down the road, and it can literally just crumble underneath of them. So that's from shoes being stored improperly, maybe outside in the heat. If the shoe's been like in the thrift store's warehouse for months, it could happen there, or if the person who owned it before was storing it out in the garage. So that is the twist test, if you have ever heard of that. Particularly Danskos is where you will hear that, but any shoe that has this like thicker rubber sole, you want to go ahead and just twist and hear. Even with any shoe, like tennis shoes can get kind of dried out, and if you hear that crackling noise, then you're going to want to pass on those shoes. Okay, so the next tips particularly apply to like sneakers or tennis shoes. So with tennis shoes that obviously sometimes have like a fabric upper that are attached to a rubber, you want to always check this toe to make sure it's not separating from the toe to the rubber. Also be checking around here. Sometimes shoes will get a really nasty like yellowing from the shoe glue that's basically gone bad, and it's unattractive. It doesn't look good. Tennis shoes, always be checking in the back of these heels. So inside of the shoe, they will get holes on the inside from wear, and you don't want to bring that home. Even sometimes in here along the tongue, there will be holes as well. If you have your phone with you, use the flashlight, shine it down into there, because there can be excessive wear down in this area that you can't see as well. So your phone flashlight is really easy to get down in there. Just make sure that there's no excessive wear or holes in the fabric lining inside of sneakers. You also, if you're looking at something like a basketball shoe, want to check out the bottom to see if the traction is still good. If they're all super worn down, nobody's going to really be wanting to play sports in a shoe that has no grip. Okay, so that leads me to sort of my next thing that I want to show you guys as well. I grabbed this pair of Fry boots. Particularly with boots, you want to sort of hold up your heels like this to see if they are worn down evenly or excessively. As you can see, this one is a little bit worn on this side, probably because they are motorcycle style boots. So this is the heel that they probably put down on the road more often. With these particular boots, I was okay with having that a little bit of excessive wear there, but sometimes it can be really bad. People that walk, you know, maybe more so onto one side, and if they're worn really unevenly, then you may want to leave them behind. And then I will show you on boots, but again, with the traction, particularly looking at like hiking shoes, Tevas, Merrells, things like that are water shoes, you want to make sure that that traction is not all worn down and smooth, because that is an important aspect to the shoe. Okay, so just to recap, basically the main things with shoes is to check the soles, make sure there's no holes, no cracks, make sure there's not any dry rot. So do that bend test on shoes that need it, and then make sure you have a matching pair. And then also just check for excessive wear. Basically anything that you wouldn't wear, your customer probably wouldn't wear either. So make sure you give them a good once over. All right, let's move on now to handbags. So I grabbed this cute little Dooney here that did have some flaws. So obviously not all flaws are, you know, something that means you shouldn't buy it. You kind of have to use your best judgment, and you will learn what brands are worth buying with flaws versus what brands need to be perfect for them to sell. So this Dooney is a vintage Dooney & Burke satchel. And so the first thing, you know, just like with clothing, make sure that the zippers work. This one just had one zipper here, and it does function. And then pay extra attention to the corners on handbags. So these are the areas that see the most wear, and sometimes they can be like completely worn out. The piping can be sticking out, and that could be a sign that you want to leave it behind. So check the bottom, check the feet, make sure that there's not too much excessive wear on the exterior, and then also check every single little pocket for grossness. To be honest, you can find some really nasty stuff inside the pockets of, there's a bunch of stuff in here, but inside the pockets, like this one has lots of tiny pockets. So make sure that you check every single one. The lining inside the bag, this one does not have a fabric lining, but a lot of handbags do have a fabric lining. So you want to check for stains in there, obviously. And you also want to check the best you can for holes in the lining, because I know I've had a purse with a hole in the lining and then stuff ends up getting like stuck inside the purse. It's like hidden, and we don't want that, obviously. So you're going to want to find out about authenticity. That is an entire video all in itself. I'm not a professional authenticator. I am pretty confident in my ability to authenticate, you know, the mid-level brands like Dooney, Coach, Kate Spade, that kind of thing. But when you get into the real high-end handbags, you may want to pay to have an item authenticated, because the fakes can just be so good. But that's all I will say about that. Just make sure you're selling authentic stuff when it comes to handbags. Okay, the next thing that you want to pay attention to is if the body is, or if the purse is missing a strap. So this handbag is actually missing its crossbody strap, which is a bummer, but I still think it's cute, and somebody will want it this way. But for some bags, if it's missing the strap, it can really decrease the resale value. So you want to take that into consideration as well. And then I'm going to grab this little guy over here. This is just a little Fossil handbag, but particularly with crossbodies that have this like thinner strap, you want to check the long straps for any fraying. If they are low quality, these straps will just start to crack and break, and that's no good. Okay, so thanks for following along. I will add part 2 of the actual checklist down below. So that's something you can save to your phone, and, you know, like I said, find a window near the thrift store. Before you check out, go through everything in your cart. You can use this list to sort of go down the line and check each one of your items before you decide to buy them. I know some of it seems like common sense, but sometimes when we get in the thrift store and our adrenaline is flowing, we sort of lose our common sense, and we're just like in a rush to check out, like someone's gonna steal it from our cart or something. So don't forget to quality check your items, but also give yourself grace. You're gonna still end up bringing items with flaws, and just do the best you can. Thanks so much for watching. If this video was helpful, please give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Bye.